Hey, Hail Stalkers, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and as you know, it's a different day, so a different city. So we are in a different location today. Actually, we have the Raising Hail Tour in Minneapolis today. So we are in Minneapolis this afternoon. Our CEO, Derek Klein, is going to be speaking there and giving you the last hail forecast of the season. Unless you want an online forecast, let us know in the comments if you guys want that again. We usually do an online forecast. So we want to know if you guys want to do that again this year or not. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the forecast for today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have so many chances for storms over the next few days. As always, let me know if you can hear me in the comments section. I know that, again, I'm in a different location today, so it's a little bit loud around me. So let me know if you guys can hear me. I think that my Wi-Fi looks good, and I've got my mic on, so my sound should look good as well. Let's get into that forecast here. Okay, we are talking about that hail risk starting tonight, and this is only round one. So that starts in Oklahoma and in Kansas tonight. We could see some large hail here, but for the most part, it's going to be a ton of storms from this risk. Not everyone's even getting rain, let alone everyone getting storms here. So it's a very isolated risk, but things change tomorrow whenever storms are a lot more widespread tomorrow, anywhere from Texas all the way up to the Ozarks. And then we rinse and repeat and do this thing all over again on Thursday and Friday, mainly in the plains. Okay, so we're talking about anywhere from Iowa all the way down to Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We'll have rounds and rounds of storms over the next few days. So put where you're watching from in the comments section. We want to hear where you guys are watching from today. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the forecast here. Okay, take a look at your maps for today. Now, these are storms late tonight into early tomorrow morning. So what this shows is storms all the way through tomorrow morning. So a lot of these storms that are going to be highlighted here in this green marginal risk, a level 1 risk, could be happening early Wednesday morning before 7 o'clock. Just kind of a caveat on this risk here. We do have a level 1 risk, which means an isolated risk, but that does not rule out large hail for today. More widespread storms expected from Texas up to the Ozarks for tomorrow. And then we can see even a few hailers from St. Louis to Cincinnati. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, Dallas, DFW, Texarkana are going to be areas that we are watching very, very closely for tomorrow. As we move into Thursday, I told you this is a rinse and repeat type of situation where we are watching for storms once again across Oklahoma and Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa on Thursday. And then we've got storms again on Friday for a good portion of the plains and even up into portions of the Midwest, including places like Chicago all the way down to Dallas on Friday. It's just day after day after day of storm systems. So we're going to try to make this as clear and simple as possible. But there's a lot of information that we're going to go over here in just a few minutes. Over the last 48 hours, we haven't seen too many storms out there. It's been pretty quiet. It's the quiet before the storm, literally. We've got a warm front setting up across Oklahoma right now, giving us some clouds into Kansas. A few showers moving across the Midwest, including Illinois and Indiana. Ohio getting a little bit of rain, and so is Kentucky. It's a cold rain as you head farther up into Pennsylvania, where they could be getting even some icy conditions today. Got lots of clouds out there right now. We've got some moisture moving in from the Gulf and some nice warm temperatures as well. Look at that, 72 in Oklahoma City right now, 74 in Dallas. Obviously, those warm temperatures are going to help for those storms to form later on today. We've got a little bit of a cap in place, so I do think that those temperatures at the surface is going to be a really big driver for storms later on today. Moving on here, let's talk about your significant hail model. So what I have here is that hail model highlighted there in yellow. Anytime that we see those darker yellows pop up on the board, that indicates some larger hail. So if we see yellow, we usually assume quarter-size hail. Those oranges get into golf ball size hail. And then as we get into some of those more red colors, we start to talk about some larger hail. As we head into the overnight hours, you could see some storms, some hailers into early, actually, you know what? I am going to change the date on the significant hail model very, very quickly so we can talk about storms today. It is right now set to Tuesday. Give me just a minute for me to update that for you guys. Okay, perfect. Saving. All right, now let's talk about storms today. Here we go. Okay, it looks a lot better, right? Okay, so we've got storms highlighted. We've got potential for hail highlighted there in yellow. Radar on top of that. So let's talk about storms that could pop up later on today. There you go. Mainly, this will be a late night system. So late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. You know, oftentimes we say as the sun goes down, that hail risk goes down as well. That's not the case through the overnight hours. You can see those storms right around dinner time or shortly thereafter popping up in Oklahoma City. We've got storms ongoing across Kansas City and St. Louis. You guys are going to get a lot of rain in these areas. And then we're expecting storms all the way through early tomorrow morning. For your early morning commute, and this is what I was talking about earlier, early Wednesday morning, you could have some storms on the radar. So check the weather before you head out for work tomorrow morning. Lots of storms coming into Wichita and across I-35 into Oklahoma City by about 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, we could have some hailers with this as well. This just kicks off our next round of storms because then we start to see, as this cold front continues to track to the south and east, we start to see these storms line up in this long line along that cold front, and we're going to continue to watch that severe weather risk all the way through tomorrow afternoon and into the evening hours, anywhere from Dallas all the way to the Ozarks. So you can start to see that right along 44 and down 35 already popping up on our radar. This is not the only timeline I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you another round or another timeline here in just a few minutes. But I want to talk about the potential for hail today. Now you see this map and you see the reds pop up and you get excited because you could see some large hail today, right? I would like to remind you how isolated the hailers are going to be. Most of these places on the map have a very low chance for large hail. Again, isolated risk for large hail here. More better chances for more widespread storms, maybe around the Clinton or Enid area in western Oklahoma, but for the most part, again, it's going to be a pretty isolated chance for hail today. Large hail is possible, but not every storm will have large hail. Better chances for large hail will happen on Wednesday and Friday. Those are going to be our 2 days that we're watching for more widespread storms. Taking a look at your forecasted max hail size, tennis ball size hail, I think it's possible, but it's not going to be very widespread today or tonight into tomorrow morning. Maybe like 1 or 2 reports of that larger hail, but it's possible. Okay, let's take a look at your future radar here. So I told you I would show you a different timeline. Here's the timeline once again for Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri this evening. We're going to zoom down into some of these areas that we're watching for storms the most here in just a few minutes, but there's your national view. Now let's talk about storms this evening. Again, I mentioned it's going to be mainly after dinner time. Maybe by the time you're in bed, that's whenever storms start. Maybe by the time you're getting out of bed tomorrow morning, we still have storms ongoing across the western portions of Oklahoma and southern portions of Kansas. That's where we're watching for the main risk for hail here, even into tomorrow morning, okay? Now, as we head into tomorrow afternoon, storms will start to line up right along this cold front from St. Louis all the way down to Dallas. We have an all hazards system here, or all hazards risk here, including that tornado risk, the hail risk, and the wind risk. Okay, so this goes from St. Louis all the way down to Dallas. You can see that we're not only watching for those afternoon storms, but maybe even some late evening storms right around 8:30 in the evening. You can see storms are still going through Dallas. I do have a Dallas timeline here in just a minute that I'll show you. As always, put your weather questions and comments in the comments section. I'm pretty good about getting on after the forecast ends and replying to those comments or answering those comments live in the forecast. Let's take a look at your Oklahoma City forecast. Evening to late night storms are possible, even early tomorrow morning storms. Here we are at 5 o'clock and nothing is on the radar, but things start to change around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight whenever we start to see more storms pop up on the radar, and then early tomorrow morning as well. So you could be home for a lot of these storms, or you could be hitting the road headed to work tomorrow morning. Pretty similar in Kansas. I have your Wichita forecast right here. Large hail is possible, but again, it's a low chance. So we've got that 1-inch size hail and a low risk here. Let's see that timeline going through the overnight hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning, 5:30, 6:30 tomorrow morning. I do expect storms by the early morning hours in Kansas. Now let's move on to storms tomorrow. So let's see, this is Wednesday's risk. Let me pull this back a little bit here. There we go. The fun thing about doing this on my computer is that I can kind of manipulate the graphics as we need to. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see this risk. for Wednesday. Okay, so we could have storms again right along this cold front anyway down to Dallas, but we're really hyper focusing from Texas to the Ozarks. Arkansas, Ozarks. Say that 5 times fast. And then we got to the west on Thursday. So I've kind of already showed you the timeline for storms tomorrow. Let's go ahead and look at that again. Morning, it'll start to rain. But really the severe risk will be intensified, increased by the afternoon hours, right around 3:30 in the afternoon. You can see that we've got more red on the board there. There will be supercells tomorrow. I know people yesterday were asking if this is more of a squall line or a supercell situation. We will see supercells tomorrow. All hazards are on the board here, including that tornado risk, hail risk, and wind risk. I have your hail map right here for tomorrow. Mainly anywhere just north of Dallas into Fayetteville, all the way up to St. Louis. That's where we're watching for the best chance for storms tomorrow, or hailers at least. You're going to have more of a wind risk later on in the day near Shreveport and Little Rock. And then, of course, that tornado risk is possible anywhere from Arkansas down into Texas and up into central Missouri. Largest max or forecasted max hail size for tomorrow. Hen egg size hail. I brought that hail size down just a little bit compared to what you saw yesterday, because I do think that we'll see some large hail tomorrow. However, maybe not tennis ball size hail. Now on Thursday, I do think that we could see tennis ball size hail. I think that'll be a really big day for hail as well. Here's your forecast for Dallas. So DFW on Wednesday. Look at this. I put the wrong day on there. I was so excited to talk about Thursday. Let me correct your day. Now here's your timeline for DFW. On Wednesday, 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock is the storm timeline that I gave you guys. You can see that those storms are popping up pretty isolated at first around 3, but you've got more chances for storms as we head into the afternoon, late afternoon and evening hours right around 5:30. You've got numerous storms on the radar. That's going to continue as the sun starts to set around 7:30, and we still have storms on the radar by about 10 o'clock. But finally, these are moving to the east through the late overnight hours, and you'll be severe clear as you wake up on Thursday. Now in DFW, you won't see storms on Thursday. That'll be farther out to the west in places like Lubbock and Amarillo, but you will have storms return on Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. There's your risk for Wednesday. We go out to the west on Thursday. Omaha included in this risk, Wichita, Oklahoma City, and just west of Dallas. And then storms return to DFW and the eastern side of the plains and even portions of the Midwest by Friday. Let's take a look at your hail risk for Thursday. That's mainly out, and I do think that this will be a big day for hail on Thursday. That's mainly out in the western side of Texas, Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland areas, all the way into Oklahoma City has a really good chance for hail on Thursday. Let's zoom down to those areas that I'm expecting the largest hail here. Up to or larger than tennis ball size hail possible from Amarillo, Lubbock, and Midland. Again, all of those areas highlighted in red could see the largest hailstones on Thursday. Pretty impressive setup on Thursday, and all of this thanks to a low pressure system. So what we see here today is going to be a weak low pressure system. It's actually weakening as we speak. I'm not too terribly impressed with this low pressure system. It's just kind of sitting between Oklahoma and moves down into the plains as we head into the middle of the week. Let me update this for you real quick. I'm actually going to remove some of the wording I have on here. It's left over from another graphic. Okay. This is going to look a lot better right here. Okay, watch this. So watch this trough come down into places like Oklahoma and Kansas. This trough sets up across the plains. There's your storms on Thursday. Really, really impressive and strong storm system on Thursday. Very similar for Friday as it sticks around the plains on Friday. We have a really good chance for tornadoes, hail, and high wind on Friday. So that's absolutely a day that you want to stay weather aware. It could impact a good portion of the plains here. But if you look at the tilt of this trough, it's positively tilted, which means that it tilts from the, let's see, I think my camera's backwards, so I'm not quite sure which way you guys see me. Yep, that should be right. So it's tilted positively, which means that this is a weakening trough. What does that mean for your storms? We could still get storms. They're still going to be pretty impressive. but it's actively weakening. So our storms on Saturday may not look too impressive, and I'm not too worried about storms on Sunday either, but we can do all of this again next week, and we are expecting storms in the middle of the week next week as well. As always, put your weather questions in the comments section. And there's your hail risk on Thursday. Let's take a look at your rain over the next 5 days. Tons of rain coming into northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, and all across the Midwest over the next 5 days. And for just a recap, storms late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. More storms on Wednesday, a lot more widespread. So the storm risk today is going to be very, very isolated, but it's much more widespread on Wednesday. More people getting rain, more people getting storms on Wednesday. Thursday, we have a great risk for hail out in western Oklahoma and western Texas. Supercells absolutely are possible here. I know we had a lot of questions yesterday about, are these going to be more of like a line of storms or supercell storms? We're expecting supercells on Thursday. And then more of a line of storms on Friday. Got a large area for storms on Friday. And it's staying warm out there. We tried to cool down a little bit today thanks to that front that's moving through. You can see those cooler temperatures across Kansas, northern Missouri, and northern Illinois. But we warm right back up. Temperatures rebound on Thursday and Friday, and that's obviously going to help those storms. The heat helps storms. We need heat, moisture, lift, and shear for storms, right? So you've got that low pressure system. There's your lift. You can see all of those warm temperatures on the board, and then we've got moisture coming up from the Gulf. So all of our ingredients are in place for storms over the next few days. Here's your temperatures. And for those of you just joining us, I do want to talk about your Dallas risk because we got a ton of storms, or we got a ton of questions about storms in Dallas. Here's your Wednesday timeline between 3 and 11 o'clock at night. So you can see storms for a while here. Again, they are more isolated in nature. It's not that congealed line of storms that we often see in Dallas. 8, 9, 10 at night. We still have storms ongoing. We still have a very, very lit up radar here. Your tornado risk is low. Your strong wind risk is going to be a larger factor here, and large hail, larger than the size of a golf ball, is also possible here in Dallas. I was talking to our CEO, Derek Klein, today. A lot of you guys know Derek, and he was saying that he has his eye on Friday storms. He is keeping an eye on those storms on Friday, so I can show you that risk as well. Zoom, fast forward to, here we are, 5 a.m. on Friday. We've got storms from Omaha all the way down to Oklahoma City, or at least rain, and then we've got better chances for storms on Friday afternoon and into the evening hours. Again, we've got an all hazards risk here. You absolutely need multiple ways to get weather alerts on Friday because we are expecting several tornadoes, large hail, and high wind. And if you notice here, we're about 4 days out from this system, from this storm event. So we don't have that marginal slight enhanced risk. We have what we call like a 30% risk. That's highlighted there in orange. So I can kind of rewind this so you can see that orange risk there. That's what we do with a storm system more than 3 days out. So day 4 or day 5. We highlight it there in orange if we're really confident that we're going to have some widespread storms. So Storm Prediction Center is already calling it. They're saying that we are expecting widespread storms on Friday. All eyes on Friday. But don't get too ahead of yourself because we still have a chance for storms tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday. So Make sure you're staying weather aware as we look farther into March. So we're looking at the second week of March now. It does look like temperatures are going to be above average, so we stay really warm as we head into the middle of March. I do expect storms next week as well, so this is not your only chance for storms. We are seeing another round next week. We're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday. I know someone asked about Tuesday yesterday. I was interested, I was curious about it, so I went ahead and looked up Tuesday as well. It does look like we have a pretty good chance of storms as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. So it does look like March is going to be very, very active. We can see that already. Lots of rain next week as well. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. We will keep our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok updated with the latest storm information for you guys. Hey, I am obviously traveling today and will be out tomorrow. So our meteorologist, Heather Kay, is going to be filling in. She is a phenomenal meteorologist. So show her that support and love in the forecast tomorrow. This is a very complicated forecast. She's going to obviously put a lot of time into this, just as I did today. All of our meteorologists at Hail Trace do a phenomenal job. We map storms 24/7 for you, and they're going to be very, very busy over the next few days with these storms coming through day after day after day. So if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can always head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more information. Get those maps now. Know how to use the app now before storms hit. All right, so thanks for joining us today. We will see you back here same